Good afternoon, everyone. So this is a bit more than a 1 minute presentation now. The Dragon's Den pitch was brutal. Right, so first of all, I'm Jay. I'm the founder and CEO at TechForce Cyber. We're a cybersecurity services company based in the beautiful Scotland and specialized in working with independent schools. We work with lots of independent schools in Scotland, which you will see in a minute. But today, what we're going to talk about is the building a cyber resilient school, right? But before that, I'm not sure if you understood my nice colleague's Doric accent earlier. He was trying to say he has 1/3 of the room's passwords. 1/3 of this room here, your email accounts were breached already. Well, we don't have the passwords, but we have access to it. But the bad guys do have access to it, right? So how do you build the resilience for that not to happen? Okay. First things first. There will be an opportunity to ask questions towards the end. So please take a note of anything that might be of interest to you, so that my colleagues will join later on, and then we can go through some Q&A. Yeah. So please do. Please ask plenty of questions. And then what I noticed is, we'll get through in a minute. So first things first, let's look at what is cyber resilience. The cyber resilience refers to of an organization to prepare for, effectively respond to, and recover from cyber attacks. Nobody really guarantees you 100% security. If somebody does, just turn around, run for the hills. All right? There's nothing called 100% security. And if it is 100% secure, we can't really perform as a business, right? So it's all about minimizing the risk. The things do happen. Nobody is perfect. But how do you minimize the risk of cyber attacks, cyber incidents in your organization? And then when they do happen, how quickly can you recover, right? That's what we need to build, right? So I'm not sure how many of you have seen the UK cyber breaches survey, which was published like 3 weeks ago. Anybody see that? They published one for the businesses, and they published one for education sector as well, specific. And if you look at the stats there, you can see primary schools, secondary schools, further education, and the higher education. Sorry for the small font, but I can read them out for you. So in essence, what it says is businesses, the amount of businesses that went through a cyber attack in the last 12 months, 50%, 1 in every 2 businesses. And then you have primary schools, similar percentage, and then you have secondary schools, almost 50% higher than businesses and primary schools. That's 71%, right? 7 in every 10 schools. Likewise, you have further education and the higher education. So I was actually speaking to a couple of you earlier. I don't want to mention the names, but the biggest threat the schools and the education sector facing is the phishing emails, phishing attempts, right? Somebody, spear phishing. I won't get into too much technical details, but head teachers, like we already said, there are already 1/3 of the room's accounts were compromised, and your details are already out there. I'm hoping you change your passwords and whatnot since that happened. And I'm hoping you're using unique passwords to different services, right? But what happened in a couple of schools in Scotland was somebody got access to the finance person and emailed the parents saying, we just changed our bank details, pay the money into this one. I was actually speaking to somebody earlier. They heard of these incidents before as well. So parents actually fell for it. That's the impact. And there is a bigger impact. I was saying in my Dragon's Den pitch. Anyone know about Leytonstone School, high school? They had an incident, and hackers made the what is it called? Simple central file, storage file. Single central file. They made it inaccessible, right? So that the school can't operate. So they closed the school, and then they were the news item. I'm sure you don't want to be that. And also, there are groups, which we'll get into, ransomware groups that are publishing information around head teacher salary, faculty's salaries, and the students' special education needs and whatnot. All the information is available. So the point is, how do we protect that, right? And looking at some of the stats we just already seen, but I want to pick one here. Here. Awareness and training, right? The NCSC, National Cybersecurity Center, part of UK government, they run lots of campaigns and still struggling with the awareness levels, right? As you can see, only 1 in every 2 schools are aware of cyber essentials. In fact, we run an analysis before we come here. So there are 91 schools who are in the attendance here, right? Out of the 91 schools, only 3 schools have the cyber essentials certification. That's about less than 3%. Yeah, but well done to those 3 schools. I know the names as well, but I won't read out the names. So again, National Cybersecurity Center runs a framework called 10 Steps to Cybersecurity. Again, we have only 4 in every 10 schools are aware of the framework, right? So awareness is a real problem. Now, this is one of the threat actor. Threat actor, we call them threat actor, but in layman terms, let's say a hacker group, right? So this is a hacker group. What they are specifically targeting education sector and the schools. And you may know this already. The education sector is the most highly targeted sector in the UK. Yeah. Due to the number of things, as you have seen, the awareness, the cyber essentials controls, 10 steps of cybersecurity, it's one of the easiest target. And also, you have gold mine of personal data, right? It's an easy target for anyone. Right. So the challenge is, I know we all want to do put the best solutions, best tools in place, best security in place. But as my parents used to say, money doesn't grow on the trees, right? So we don't have unlimited budgets. The challenges we face, and also from our personal experience as well, from our own experience, speaking to a number of schools, budget challenges are real. And also with what's coming and what's projected in the next few months and a year, it's even more difficult, I believe, with the new governments and everything, right? And the awareness, we have seen it, and also in-house skills. I know my colleagues were speaking to a few of you earlier, and most of you have an IT person or an IT support company who is helping you, and some of those IT companies may be helping you with cyber as well. We work with lots of schools in Scotland, and most of them have an IT person or IT company helping them, and we work along with them to protect the people's data, sensitive data, right? So if you may or you may not have the skills in-house, again, that's something we can complement. I won't give too much sales pitch, but right. So actionable insights, what can you do, right? As I said, the challenge is, sorry, is it too much noise? I'm hearing too much. So as I said, the challenge is the limited budgets, right? What we need to do is do more with less. That's exactly what we're good at. And also looking at what you can do in-house. What's the low-hanging fruit, right? The staff training. Again, I was speaking to a couple of you who were running email phishing campaigns, simulated phishing campaigns and whatnot, which is a great practice. You can do that, and then the back of that, hopefully you're sending some training campaigns. We have spoken to a number of schools where, oh yeah, we do security awareness training once a year, once every 2 years. Oh, how long is the training? 1 hour, 2 hours, right? The adoption rate of those 1 hour, 2 hour courses is very, very low. And then they're really bugging their colleagues to go on this training. But what we recommend is make it simple, make it short, sweet, memorable, entertaining. Now we're in a generation of Netflix and OTT, right? So, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, short videos, and a Netflix kind of series. There are tons of options available in the market. But the idea is, the underlying fact is we need to grow security as a culture rather than just a tick box, right? And then you have access controls. I'm sure most of your organizations are now adopted to cloud using some sort of online cloud-based platform, your MI systems and whatnot, right? When the cloud technology comes into place, the access controls, who is accessing what, who has permissions to what, still sits in your remit. And that's one of the key controls when you're using cloud as well, right? Making sure the person, whoever is accessing, has the least amount of privileges to do their job. Otherwise, within no time, you'll be in trouble, right? So security baselines, again, the Cyber Essentials certification is one of the baseline, as the name itself suggests, it's an essential standard. If you don't have it, that's a great way looking at it. Ideally, any school, any organization over 10 employees, 10 staff, we would recommend Cyber Essentials Plus, right? You get to a baseline standard, and it covers, 5 different areas, which I don't go into just now. And then regular audits to see something we do is we conduct cyber maturity assessments. We onboard a school, first thing we do is we conduct a maturity assessment. Where are you in that cyber journey, right? And then in a year time, we'll do that again and see how far you have come. When we do it for the first time, we'll put a roadmap together and regular assessments and audits to see your progress and also fix any gaps you may have. Strong password policies, again, a low-hanging fruit. I can tell you a number of stories, but I'll tell you one. This is an organization which didn't have a two-factor authentication. Again, two-factor authentication is one of the biggest challenge in the schools as well, from our experience. And just because of that control, the person's account got compromised, and they lost about £723,000. Right? And it took them 3 weeks to detect what happened. External monitoring. Again, we just said we have seen 1/3 of the room's passwords were already accounts were already compromised. You just keep an eye on what's been happening externally. And I was speaking to somebody earlier as well regarding the same thing. So I won't read out the whole thing, but this is kind of a roadmap, what you could look at, like 0 to 6 months, what do you want to achieve, low-hanging fruit, the immediate things you can do, and also do with the less budgets available, right? The one thing I wanted to focus more on was do more with less, but I think I already said it. But in Scotland, what we do is, when we're working with a number of different schools, we usually ask them to purchase something together. That doesn't mean you have to send one purchase order for a number of different schools. But if you're purchasing at the same time, because of the bulk purchasing, you can save costs. And again, that's doing more with less, right? So, and look at what you can do in-house, collaborate with other schools, which is fantastic. And it's not something we have invented. I'm sure you have seen this before, and you do with other suppliers. With that, I would like to introduce my Doric friend again to go through the case study. Come on, Adam.
Hello, everyone. Last chat was obviously 60 seconds, so I'll try and go a little bit slower so you can understand me a little bit better. So, yeah, as Jay said there, this is one of an array of testimonials that we now have. When I first joined TechForce, education sector was a big thing, which I'm driving here at TechForce. The business development manager here. And since starting, our first school was St. Leonard's, who first came to us, kind of unsure about the cybersecurity climate that they were in and the, new ever-growing threats, which initially started with, Cyber Essentials Plus certification, which is the low-hanging fruit. And that's grown into a full-scale relationship, I suppose, from a cybersecurity point of view. The IT director there since got us involved with the, never say this right, SCIS, which is the Scottish Council of Independent Schools, if you know that, in Scotland. And we speak there alongside Police Scotland about the ever-growing threats that people are facing, particularly education sector. And right the way through the country, we've done a lot of different things now working with, I think it's close to about 15. You see some of them there. Albine School being local to us in Aberdeen. Ardvrek is in Crieff, and you've got ESMS, a big Edinburgh-based school as well. I'm not going to sit and spit services to you. Please get in touch. There's a number of different things that we can help with, different solutions, but it is very much from a relationship perspective. And yeah, it's very topical now more than ever. So please do come and have a chat with us if you've not done so already. And yeah, find out a little bit more. Thank you.
As I said, we don't really want to be standing here and pitching, but we found working with schools, packaging things up, making it simpler for budgetary purposes, making it simpler for schools to understand that these packages can be done on a regular basis throughout the years has helped our schools that we've worked with to understand this process. So if you are sort of not sure where you're at on your cyber journey, we probably do have a package here that just can come in and complement where you're at and support you with your journey. But please feel free to see us. We're outside to have a further chat on anything around this, or if you would like any more information. As mentioned at the start, the government report on the sort of education sector is a very, very interesting report. I would be taking some interesting stats out and probably sending it to your boards, because it is highlighting the ever growing threat in the cyber sector or in the education sector with cyber attacks. But I think from there, we'll sort of move on to questions.
Brilliant. Well, that's Liam, our Chief Revenue Officer. Right, with that, we'll take the questions. We have about 3 minutes. Any questions? Right.
Yeah, so if you've managed to get all the systems up into the cloud via Office 365, if we're using cloud-based MIS, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got everything up into the cloud, what else could you or should you be doing to sort of promote security? If you've managed to basically get rid of your own servers, what can you be doing?
So these days, your identity is everything, right? Your email account, your whatever the account you're using. With the cloud systems, I presume you're probably using the same account across the multiple services if you have something called single sign-on. But if you don't, your identity is everything. You need to protect that identity. Again, somebody can easily steal that identity through phishing attempts, right? Apart from that, phishing attempts, again, you need to combat that with your user awareness, continuous education. And then, as I earlier mentioned, even though the systems are in cloud, the access controls are still in your remit. And then making sure your cloud configuration is configured correctly. Again, you don't want to leave any loopholes in there, right? While we look at that cloud piece, 3 things, and then you still have your devices that are accessing the cloud. Are those devices up to date? And you have your school Wi-Fi, you may have the guest Wi-Fi. People usually configure them in a separate VLANs. Again, just give me a shout if I'm getting too technical. Thinking they're separate and they're secure, but it's not really. If somebody can get onto your guest Wi-Fi, they can easily get onto your corporate Wi-Fi as well. So I would be testing them. As we have seen, if you don't have anything, start there. If you have something already, test your defenses. We do lots of penetration testing. Test your defenses. If you have that in place, then incident response retainer, something happens, what do you do? Right? Okay, next question. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sorry, we'll get back to you in a minute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I think I have 2 questions, but I'll try and ask it all in one. It should be fairly simple. The password one is the one that gets to me in terms of password policies and trying to, what is the best way to change passwords in terms of it not getting too complicated and having too many passwords for too many different things? When you keep these passwords, and are password keys or safes on the system any good, or is that counterproductive actually? Because once they hack in, then they've hacked into this safe password safe area. That's number 1. And then you mentioned number 2 about two-factor authentication not working in school. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Because what I know is about accessing telephones and telephones not being allowed on school. So how do you go around that? Sorry.
So if you don't mind, I will answer the first question. Second question, come and see us. I'll answer at the stand. We're running out of time, right? So as per the National Cybersecurity Center's advice, do not change the passwords often, right? Make one strong password and protect with the two-factor authentication, or encourage using password managers. Password managers will help you create a strong, unique password for every single service, and also help you remember those passwords. Whether you're using a laptop or a mobile device, you can use the password manager to log into these services. Just make it easy for people to have, to improve the security. And with the two-factor authentication, yes, we came across this a number of times. I would be more than happy to talk to you at the stand, if that's okay, because it needs a longer explanation, right?
Mine's actually a two-factor authentication, but specifically with students. Staff use it, no problem. It's the students that I'm now starting to think about in our schools. We don't have phones in schools. Some kids don't have phones.
Yes.
It's a big gap.
Yeah, exactly. Many people, I used to think at some point. There are other ways than phones and the codes and authentication codes. There is something called conditional access. You can set that up, and that means if you're in this, you can only access the account when you're in this building. And if the hacker is getting access from some other country, they won't be able to access. That's the whole essence. But again, I can take that question at the stand. Any other questions? Brilliant. Only a few questions. I like it. Right. Thank you so much for listening to this very patiently. Right.